I started my YouTube channel when Utada Hikaru was already on her hiatus from the music industry, and it's such an amazingly special feeling to me to finally have my favorite artist's new album here in my hands. This is Utada Hikaru's first Japanese album in 8 years and her first album in 6 years, Fantôme. I already did a full unboxing of this video, so if you'd like to see a detailed look at the album art, you can go ahead and watch that if you haven't already. So overall, like I said in that video, I really liked this album artwork. It was probably the most expressive of all of Utada Hikaru's album artworks, and actually I want to say that this is my new favorite album artwork by her ever. So this album is only 11 tracks long. I have to say I was a little bit disappointed in that. I was hoping for about 15 tracks maybe. However, once I heard all the songs on this album, I was no longer disappointed. Another note, I know I said in a video that Fantôme means ghost, but I read somewhere, and I don't know if this is true, so correct me if I'm wrong, but Utada actually intended the translation for this album to be closer to the Japanese word for vision or apparition, not necessarily just ghost. So thank you guys who messaged me asking me for the review. I'm very sorry for the delay in getting this up. I wanted to give it a really decent listening. I wanted to listen to it many times and look up all of the lyric translations and really just let all of the tracks really sink in before I did my review. In general, I don't do my reviews like the day albums come out. I just feel like I would have a totally different opinion on the album if I had done that instead of waiting and letting everything on this album seep in. Just because the hype, especially for this album and for a lot of new releases that I reviewed, the hype really affects the way that you might feel about music. At least for me personally, when I first heard a lot of the album tracks on here, I was just freaking out and like amazed by all of them, and now I've had a lot more of a chance to listen to them and I have a lot more to say about them that I think will be more unbiased, and I try to be as unbiased as possible in my reviews, but since Utada is my favorite artist, I can't really help but be a little bit biased, I think. So without further ado, let's get started on the track by track review. The first song is called Michi, which translates to road. I said in my Ultra Blue review that I thought Utada Hikaru uses her music as kind of like a roadmap through life and not just necessarily like journal entries. I feel kind of convicted in that because of the name of the song and the theme of it. So the song opens with a rather flat sounding beat, and as the track moves on, Utada layers in more and more different types of instruments. The flat percussion beats stay there, but I really like the synth layer that she added in right before the chorus kicks in, and then the chorus has this really cool organ synth which sounds a lot like the sample she used in Tokyo Nights. So Utada kind of surprised us with this song because initially we were kind of led to believe that this album would just be full of like grieving ballads, and that's not the case at all. She said that Michi was danceable and she wanted to let her fans know that she's actually doing okay with this song. So from that interview of hers, I kind of thought, well, this will be the only upbeat song in this album, and again, it's not the case. And I just love that this opened the album because this was another song I was like, Utada is such the queen of melancholy, because this is sort of like a pretty upbeat sounding song, but if you read the lyrics, it's kind of quite sad. I really love the opening line. She says, "Beyond the black waves," and she sings it so brightly. She's kind of belting black waves at the very beginning of the song, and it's just so unusual, quite typical for her. I mean, I really like how the song introduced the idea of how she is grieving her mother, but she's also moving on. That's what she's saying to me in the chorus, that it's a lonely road, but she's not alone. So I really liked Michi. I thought that she combined some things that she sort of brought with the sounds that she used on her station and applied it here. When I heard this song, I thought, wow, she's back. Just because the other songs off the album that we had heard up to that point when Michi came out were like piano ballads, so Michi returns to that synth pop style that I really like by her. The next song is Ore no Kanojo, which means my girlfriend. I've also seen people translate it as my gal. The song opens again very simplistically with just a plucked bass, it sounds like, and then slowly Utada layers in the next instruments, and she does that pretty much consistently throughout this album, where she starts off with one instrument and then the song keeps building up until the last chorus. A lot of fans are speculating that this song is possibly about Utada Hikaru's own sexuality, and others are thinking it could be told from a man's point of view. For the most part, there are no gender-specific pronouns used in the song, which is often the case when speaking Japanese anyway, so we're kind of waiting for Utada to clarify on that. In all honesty, I'm not a huge fan of this song. I did really like it when I first heard it. I kind of got hyped up about it. I know a lot of people are loving this song and it's among their favorites on the album, if not their favorite. To me, it's approaching the too cheesy line, and I don't want to sound like I hate it because I still really like the song, but it's just nowhere near my favorites. It's probably one of my least favorites on the album. Just like the bass and the snapping track in it are too cheesy, and it really makes me picture Utada in like a smoky piano bar as an amateurish singer, and I don't really like that image of her, honestly. The song really picks up in the last chorus where we get a really beautiful string arrangement added to the mix. And the song really evolves over the course of the track. It starts off very simplistically and then it becomes almost like an orchestral sounding track. I also feel like I detect Utada saying ore with a little bit of a roll to her R, so she kind of sounds like a little gangsta in the song. She's saying like ore. Utada transitions to French in this song, and I really enjoy her singing voice in French. I do understand basic French as a Canadian, and to me it wasn't too jarring that she suddenly changed from Japanese to French. I don't know about other listeners out there who don't speak any French. As a summary, I do like this song, but it's not among my favorites. Track 3 is HANATABA o KIMINI, which was, of course, the soundtrack for a morning drama called Toto Nei-chan. I've already done a complete review and analysis of this song, so I don't really want to go into it too much. I will link that video if you haven't seen that already as well. I enjoy the song well enough. Again, it's not among my favorites. However, this song is probably the easiest to sing along to on this entire album, at least for me, so for that reason I really like it, and I never skip this so I can sing along. The next song is Nijikan dake no bakantsu, which translates to 2 hours of vacation. However, bakantsu or vacances is not the Japanese word for vacation, it is the French, and I think I also read that it's the same in Italian. The song is featuring fellow female soloist Shina Ringo. Everything about this collaboration is so amazing to me. Again, this song starts off simply with kind of a twangy sounding guitar, then a really nice string comes in with sort of a tapping sounding percussion. Utada sings the first verse beautifully, it's in sort of her lower range. Shina comes in, and I actually really like her voice in this track. I know a lot of people don't like her voice, and I think I mentioned in my Utada Hikaru no Uta review that I've never really listened to her music that much, and her voice can kind of get too shrill for me sometimes. But on this track, I felt like she kind of contained that, and I think she sounds so good on this track, and I love singing along to both parts. I really enjoy how Utada has like this smooth, deeperish voice, and then Shina has a little bit higher, and she almost has like a textured sounding voice, and to me that was such an interesting combination, really unusual. A lot of the times, female duets, they all try to complement each other by making their voices sound the same, or their voices already sound the same. In this case, they sound quite different. To me, it's just really interesting. On top of all that being a song that I really love, the video for this song blew me out of the water. This video is officially my new favorite Utada Hikaru video. They really pulled out all the stops for this video. It's this amazing spacescape romance. The only thing I wish in the video is that Shina and Utada didn't have such similar hairstyles in it, but other than that, it's a totally amazing video. It made me wish for the first time ever that Utada put out Blu-ray versions of her albums like a lot of the AVEX artists do, so I could own an HD copy of that video. Track 5 is Ningyo, which means mermaid. This track basically consists of a harp throughout the first verse, and the harp really seems to describe waves of the ocean or like bubbles floating up through water. Everything about this song creates a very clear visual picture to me. I don't know about you guys, but for certain songs, a lot of the times I just start imagining what I would make the music video be for them. There was a certain point in high school where I actually really wanted to become a music video director because there's always songs, at least a couple songs and albums where I can picture really clearly the video I would do for it or like what I would expect from it. So for this song, I picture Utada kind of performing at like sort of a 1930s, 1950s like mansion sort of thing. There's cuts of her between her performing, talking and socializing with other people at this party, and then she'll suddenly remember her mother, whom we're assuming this song is about, and being sad, and then she goes outside to the beach and she sees something in the water, and then we see like just glimpses of a mermaid or a woman swimming underwater, but then she gets away by the end of the song. And that is all I can picture when I listen to this song. Like, it's kind of weird because I don't relate the song to my own life at all, and it's really cinematic to me in a weird way because it's a very gentle song. It's not actually very theatrical. And I guess I feel that way because this song is actually pretty descriptive with the lyrics. If you guys read the lyric translation, the first line is, "Mysteriously when I come to this place, I feel like I can see you." Everything about this song is mystical. It's heart-wrenching and atmospheric, and especially the very ending of the song is completely heartbreaking. Utada picks us back up again with track 6, which is called Tomodachi, which means friend. Utada stated in a recent TV interview before she performed this song that it is about a gay person falling in love with their friend who is not gay. This song is featuring another artist named Obukuro Nariaki. I was pretty shocked when the featured artists were announced on this album because there's a total of 3 vocalists, and if you count the pianist on Sakura Nagashi, there's 4 features on this. And Utada has only ever featured one other vocalist, Yamada Masashi, on One Night Magic off of Ultra Blue. So the fact that she featured... My rabbit's peeing right now. You're sick. So Nariaki is kind of serving the same purpose on this track as Yamada Masashi did on One Night Magic, where he's kind of just backing up Utada and he's harmonizing with her, but he harmonized with her beautifully. He can sing really high. I think he can actually sing higher than Utada. This song made me feel a bit nostalgic for the Tattoo song Maichige. It's kind of the same sort of subject matter but switched perspectives. The beat in this song is pretty simplistic. I absolutely love the horns in this song, but I feel like they could be a little more textured, and or there could be another layer of a track placed in there. Some of the instrumentals on this album are a little bare bones, admittedly. I love the deep bass at the intro of this song. I absolutely love the chorus for the song. It's so catchy. If you guys haven't seen the live performance on television of this song with the 2 vocalists together, I can't recommend it enough. The live version is actually better than the recorded version. It's kind of bizarre because we heard the live version before the album came out. So when I listened to the album version, I was like, this is gonna be amazing because the live version was so amazing. But then I was almost let down a little. They both seem to have a little bit more energy and passion when they're performing live, which I can kind of understand, but I also wish that was brought on the album version as well. That being said, I really love Tomodachi. It's a very strong contender for my favorite track on this album. The next song is Manatsu no TOORIAME. Again, I've already done a complete review and analysis of this single, and that's up on my channel if you would like to watch it, so I'm not going to go super in-depth on this song, but I still think that this song is a true masterpiece. I think everything Utada does with her voice in the song is amazing, and the emotional buildup of the song is subtle but powerful. Track 8 is Koya no Okami, which means Wolf of the Wilderness. This is another song that completely surprised me. I had my hair totally blown back by the 80s sound, especially with the very flat horn at the beginning of the intro of the song. Overall, the instrumentals are quite flat on the first verse. I don't necessarily mind that. I like Utada's breathing noise in this part. It's adding a little bit of texture to the track. When the song transitions into the chorus, the first time I heard it, I was screaming. Some of you guys might know that I'm a huge fan of TOORIAME, and she is a pianist primarily as well as a singer-songwriter, and the style of this chorus reminded me so hard of TOORIAME's style. So to hear my favorite artist, Utada, sort of channeling another favorite artist of mine was like a mind-blowing experience, and it was surprising on this track because the first verse is so 80s and kind of quite random, and then out of nowhere the chorus is suddenly this more traditional Utada sound but with a very melodic piano. This song really says to me a lot about the idea of feeling like you have to be alone, but also that you want to be with other people, and this dichotomy of the persona people present to their friends versus how they see themselves in private. This is another song that makes me picture a lot of intense visuals. I really picture a big city like Tokyo at nighttime. There's a lot of descriptions of people hanging out together and smoking, and like, I don't know, for the video of this I would have Utada like in certain clips like running through the city, and at the very end of the video she would kind of like break out into this forest as like the sun's coming up and be like standing alone like a lone wolf. So I really like this song. Like I said about all the songs, I like every single song on this album. I don't skip any of the songs. The horn here at the end really reminds me of TOORIAME's song Playboy Mommy. The horn at the beginning of that song sounds so close to this. Track 9 is Bokyaku featuring Ko. When I first heard that Utada would be featuring a rapper on Fantôme, I had no idea what to expect. I knew that she probably wasn't going to do the typical sort of rap feature where the rapper would come at the beginning of the track and be like, yo, we get all the bitches and the cars and stuff like that, and then have like a verse at the bridge. So the beginning of the song is quite extended. It's over a minute long, I believe, and a lot of people I've seen complaining about that, and to me, the extended intro to this track has always served as the interlude for the album. Because this album is lacking all of the introductions and interludes that Utada includes most often on her albums, I really felt like that intro was included with this song for that purpose. I love the intro to the song. I never skip it. This song is exactly the style of music that is my most favorite. The intro has a heartbeat in it with some ambient synth noises. I love how this whole song is melodic but ambient at the same time. And Ko is actually the first to sing or rap, chant, whatever he's doing. He gets to sing before Utada on this track. He sounds a little sad, desperate in a way, and I really love Utada sort of harmonizing with him at the end of each of his phrases. She is singing very softly along, she's almost whispering. It just adds a little bit to the song, and I really like it. And I absolutely love when Utada comes in. I get chills. Leading up to the end of Ko's verse, there's an intense drum, and then it sort of stalls and we just go to like some ambient with Utada singing in her very unique tone of falsetto. This album really made me love her falsetto tone. She uses it very well throughout this album, I found. I love when she starts doing sort of a mixed voice. She transitions beautifully between using her falsetto voice, mixed voice down into her chest voice, and she's kind of doing this up and down thing throughout all the phrases. Those parts really remind me of everything I loved about Ultra Blue, but it's leveled up, and she really stepped up her songwriting with this song, and I'm really stunned that a lot of people don't seem to feel very attached to this track, mostly because of Ko's feature on it. I feel like I formed a lot of the opposite opinions that I've seen a lot of fans talking about online and on YouTube and everything. The song, it seems like it has two layers of her very gentle, ethereal vocals, and then there's this hard, I want to say it's a drum, but I'm not sure, in the background, and it sort of reminds me of like running footsteps. And the bridge here again is just another style bite from Utada Hikaru that I love. I'm definitely interested in Ko now, and I would like to check out more of his music. I do like rap. I've never really reviewed a complete rap album on my channel, but I do like certain rappers a lot. So if you can recommend me something of his, let me know in the comments. When I read the lyric translation to this song, I actually was kind of crying. I feel like this song, out of all of the songs on this album, and I know some of you aren't going to agree with that, and that's okay, it encompasses the whole feeling. Lyrically and instrumentally, I felt that Utada was trying to present with this album in the deep melancholy she feels about life itself, as well as what she seemed to be battling with when writing this album is grieving her mother, feeling alone and lost, as well as trying to move on with her life. And the sense of desperation in this song is captivating to me. This song is everything to me right now. Some of my favorite lyrics on this album are in this song. I really like, "Where's the exit? There's nothing but entrances." To me, that felt a little reverse of sort of the cliche where you need to find the entrance to something, and to me that was her describing she couldn't find the exit to her grief, and the entrances were every time she would feel like she was happy again or moving on, she would be reminded of why she's so sad. I ran through a deep forest, even if my feet were torn off, even with an artificial leg, for all time. And that's just driving home her point of the feeling of being unable to escape. So yeah, I absolutely love this song. It did take me 1 or 2 listens to kind of get used to Ko's voice, how the whole track just meshed together with the 2 vocalists, but I absolutely love the song, if you couldn't tell by how much I'm going into it right now. If you don't like this song, I'm really interested to kind of hear why, and I hope that I've kind of sparked an interest in you about it. Anyway, the next song is Jinsei Saiko no Hi, which means the best day of my life. So I was talking with some other fans on Twitter about how this song is the same bait and switch move Utada used on Heart Station. When we heard Take 5, which is like one of the most depressing songs of all time, she put Boku wa Kuma right after that to kind of like pick you back up, make sure you don't go jump in front of a train, and she's done the same thing here on Fantôme. So after Bokyaku, which I don't think I said it means like oblivion, forgetting everything, something like that. To make sure you're not completely fallen into oblivion, she has inserted the best day of my life. The song is along the same vein as some of her previous songs like Keep Tryin'. It's a really bright song. It's fairly upbeat. I have to say that reading the lyric translation, the theme of the song actually is more like Sakura Drops, where she is singing about getting knocked out by the same punch, but she's gonna get up and fall in love again. In this song, it's kind of a similar feeling where she's saying that no matter what happens, she's not gonna look back, she's just gonna fall headfirst into love. Before this album came out, we were speculating on if this song was potentially about her son or her marriage, and I think it's about her husband. I do really like this song, but for me personally, I really prefer Utada Hikaru's melancholic songs to her happy songs like this. Overall, I think the instrumentation is really good on this song. She's not doing anything very crazy with her voice in this song, but it does sound really healthy and good. I think for the most part, her voice has made a recovery from the damage from Utada United. She isn't doing a lot of stuff at the same level that she used to, and I totally expected that for this album, so I'm not like disappointed or anything by her vocal performance. I'm very happy that it's made a recovery and she does sound quite healthy. This song ends up sounding a little bit juvenile with the don don part, and the way she says Sheiku Spia, I admit it's adorable, but it's just not my favorite, and actually this song is probably my least favorite right now on the album. The closing track is Sakura Nagashi. It was slightly disappointing to have this song as the closing track on the album just because it has been out for several years now. You know, I'm sure you guys are like me and you've listened to this song like 100,000 times. So as much as I would want a brand new track in there or like 4 more tracks, this is a perfect album closer. It's probably the most depressing song that Utada has ever written, which is kind of saying a lot. She wrote the song before her mother ever passed away, and like I said when the song came out, the meaning behind this to me is so much regret. I feel like this song is taking on even more meaning since her mother's passing, and I feel like we've learned a little bit about their relationship through this album. I just get the impression that Utada is very close with her parents, and she worked with them since she was 13. She grew up working in the studio with them. Her mother was a legendary singer as well. Utada wrote the song Arashi no Megami, and I'm probably reading into it a lot, but I get the impression that Utada felt like she was in her mother's shadow all the time, and then when Utada sort of rocketed to fame, her mother probably felt like she was in her own child's shadow as well. Again, I don't want to go super in-depth with this song. I think it's a beautiful, amazing song. The instrumentation is just ungodly. I bought a new pair of headphones. You might know that if you follow me on Twitter, specifically for when this album came out, because I've actually never owned a good pair of headphones in my entire life before, and I know that's kind of bizarre because I do review music and I do love music so much, but I'm kind of cheap that way, I guess. So the hype for this album really made me feel like I had to listen to it properly and invest in a decent pair of headphones so I could hear the music how it's actually intended to be heard. and hearing all of the strings and piano notes in the song with the depth that they were probably intended for the first time was really moving. So that's the entire album. I feel like a lot of people have an issue with the track list on this album, and it's interesting because Utada said this is the first time she has ever done the track list herself, and I was really surprised by that because she is the writer of the song, so I figured that she would have had a lot more say and control in how she wanted the songs to appear. And it's just funny that the first time that she does do the track order, it seems to be kind of a problem. So at first I didn't really feel bothered by the track order the first couple of listen throughs for this album, but now that I've listened to it many times, I talked with some people online about it. I listened to the album on shuffle and it created a little bit of a different listening experience. It's a little bit jarring the way it is now. There seems to be like a slower, depressing-ish song followed up by a more upbeat song, a single followed by an album track. I kind of thought it might be interesting if you reordered the tracks to be all of the most depressing ones, gradually getting more into the happier ones. So Sakura Nagishi would be the first track, then Jinsei Saiko no Hi would be the last track. Someone else on Tumblr asked me what I would order them to be, and they actually ordered it the opposite way first, so they would start with Jinsei Saiko no Hi, the happiest song, and then end on Sakura Nagishi again. I still don't have a massive problem with it, like it doesn't ruin the album for me anyway. It doesn't seem messy to me, but there are certain songs that personally I would have grouped together differently than how they are now. It's been so hard for me to figure out what my favorite song in this album is. Like I said a few times, the hype was so intense that every time I heard a new song in it, I was blown away. I was obsessed with it, and there's a bunch of songs that are really close together for me as far as how much I like them. So Jinsei Saiko no Hi right now is my least favorite song, but like I said, that in no way means that I dislike it. I don't skip it or anything, but I really do prefer the darker, more emotive songs. Right now, if you didn't guess it, my favorite song on this album is Okyaku, or Forgetting. I know that's probably insane to a lot of people because I've seen lots of fans saying that they still don't like it, they can't get used to it, the intro is too long, but that song is just perfection to me. I already went on about it. I also really like Nijikan Dake no Bakansu, just the style of that song. It's like kind of jazzy, it's different, and I would say that song and Tomodachi are close number twos. I really love Ningyo for the visuals it gives me and how it tells like a complete story in my mind. And MANATSU no TOORIAME, I feel like I listened to that song to death and I feel horrible about it because I still know in my mind that it's such a masterpiece of a song, but I absolutely listened to it to death when it came out as a single. Now it's really hard for me to count it among my top favorites on this album. My second least favorite right now is Ore no Kanojo, and I'm saying right now because after some years go by, my opinions on the song changes. Like I was saying on my last Ultra Blue video was that Colors used to be like my favorite song of all time, my favorite video of all time, and again I listened to it to death. And I ended up really loving the album tracks as opposed to the singles on Ultra Blue as of more recently. Koya no Okami is a really strong track, but it's just not quite there yet for me to be in my top favorite songs. I wish that it had a couple more layers of instruments on the verses, and if it was just a little more textured sounding. It's just a little bit too flat, but I think it has a lot of potential. I really like the lyrics in it. I think it's way too early right now to rank where this album would fall amongst all of Utada Hikaru's albums for me. It's really tough for me to rank her albums anyway, but I think I would have to give like all of her other albums another thorough listening, and then try to rank all of them. But for now, I would say it's really up there. It's just too bad that it's so short, but all the tracks are really strong and good. She also did a lot of new styles on this album. She really surprised us with certain songs. So overall, I was not disappointed with this album in any way. I felt like Utada just keeps getting better and better as a songwriter as time goes on. So that has been my opinion on Fantôme. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Just a reminder, this is my opinion. I can't wait to read what you guys thought about this album in the comments down below. So make sure you let me know. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye. Which costs about $70 Canadian. So here they printed with some nice green paper to protect protect the items, and then also protect them with some bubble wrap. So I can show you guys the Blu-ray at the end of the video if anyone is interested in that one. But oh my god, here it is. Wow, I can't believe